Today we're going to talk about eclipses. There are two different kinds of eclipses that we will learn about. You should be on the back of the page that says Tides and Eclipses Notes, and you should have colored pencils to use. You need an orange, a yellow, and a blue colored pencil. We're going to start with the top. At the top of this page, there are two numbers that represent the points where you would find an eclipse. We have the solar eclipse, which occurs here, and the lunar eclipse, which occurs here. Take your colored pencils, and we are going to color the moon yellow. Now, unfortunately, I don't have yellow on the smartboard, so I'm just going to label it. Color the moon yellow. And color the sun orange. And I don't have orange on the smartboard either, so I'm just going to label that one. Color the sun orange. You can see that with the solar eclipse, the moon is in between the sun and the earth, and with the lunar eclipse, the moon is on the other side of the earth. Let's look at each picture a little more closely. The moon's orbit is tilted 5 degrees from Earth's orbit. There are only 2 points in that orbit where an eclipse can occur. That also has to do with why we don't have an eclipse every single month. So here we have our two pictures. The first one represents a solar eclipse. So we'll label the sun and color that yellow. Pause here if you need to color. Then we have the moon in between the sun and the earth. Leave that white. Then on the other side, we have the earth. Color the earth blue. Pause here if you need to color. When you have a solar eclipse, the moon's shadow falls on the earth. When it's a total shadow, we call that the umbra. Kind of like an umbrella. It covers everything. When you have a partial shadow, which would be the two areas on either side of the umbra, that's called the penumbra. People that are located in the umbra would see a total eclipse. People that are located in the penumbra would see a partial eclipse. Solar eclipses don't happen very often, and they usually happen over a pretty narrow range of Earth. So it's much less likely that you would get to see a solar eclipse than a lunar eclipse. Let's move on to the second picture. For the lunar eclipse, again, we're going to label the sun and color it yellow. Pause here if you need to color. Then we will label the moon, leave that white, and we will label the earth and color it blue. This time you can see that the earth shows a much bigger shadow, or throws a much bigger shadow onto the moon. So when you get a lunar eclipse, it is much more common to see a total lunar eclipse, where you would be located in the umbra, which would be the total shadow. And there's also a much larger area for the penumbra, which would be the partial eclipse or the partial shadow. Lunar eclipses happen much more frequently than solar eclipses. And in fact, when a lunar eclipse happens, a lot of times the moon will appear to turn red because that's the longer wavelengths of light that are making it through the Earth's atmosphere and being shown onto the moon. This will be for a stamp, so when you finish coloring, ask for a stamp, and then we have a video and homework to watch afterwards.